One of the fondest memories I have from my childhood is making model railroads with my dad. I remember having an entire room dedicated to just that. It's no wonder that growing up, the desire to make models to recreate locations and places remained with me until way into my adult life. On the other hand, while being attracted by computers a lot, I was never a gamer. At least, pretty much into my early 20s. I remember entering a computer store, can't remember if it was Best Buy or Circus City, it was the early 2000s, and my gaze was upon a boxed edition. Well, of course it was boxed, since this was before Steam and other online video game stores, of SimCity 3000. It was like being catapulted back a couple of decades, to those years when I was building railroads with my dad. So I decided to buy it. You will probably both laugh and be amazed at the fact that that was the first video game that I ever bought, ever. Of course, I played at friends' homes on their C64s. I was stuck with a C16 with no tape recorder, so if I wanted to game, I had to type, and a lot. But I never had a setup that I could really consider a game setup. Also, even as a teenager or a young adult, I viewed computers more as working machines than gaming ones. So yeah, to make it short, that was my first game, and I played the hell out of it. You can only imagine what happened when SimCity 4 came out. I played it and got frustrated, like a lot. Man, that game was hard. Fortunately, later on, the Rush Hour expansion pack came along and made things more playable, for a noob like me, that is. So I tried to stay up to date with all the upcoming games in the genre. I hated SimCity 13, while I still played SimCity Build It. Yeah. By the way, why isn't there a decent game for mobile? What a stupid question. Back to topic. I got frustrated with Cities X, I don't know how many X's it got to, L, despite the game's huge wasted potential, until I heard that a new European company was about to launch a new city builder. And I loved it. Well, sometimes I hate it, but that's for some other time. So I started playing City Skylines while never abandoning SimCity 4, my real true love. And that got to a point where gaming met this here very platform, YouTube. I started watching videos made by gamers primarily in the city building genre, if not as a tool for learning, certainly as a relaxing habit. City building videos just relax and entertain me to no end. Sure enough, at the point that, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, I often fall asleep to them. Maybe later I'll confide who makes me fall asleep faster, but soon I started noticing a problem. A lot of these videos were either made by very talented people or, on the contrary, by very unskilled or sloppy players. The first category is nice to watch, but sometimes I was longing for a more relaxing style of gameplay. Me, myself, I'm not what you could call a super detailer, someone who spends huge amounts of time adding and removing props to a single building or a single street. I like to see my city more like a whole with just the right amount of detailing. On the other hand of the spectrum, there were videos that usually just made me scream at the screen. Your sewage is flooding. Check the water pollution. Your Sims are drinking their own Look at that intersection. There's a fire in your downtown. And so on and so forth. Oftentimes videos were either too meticulous in editing and gameplaying style or too sloppy in both categories, with nothing in the middle. And that's where I come in. The desire to open a YouTube channel and to offer just the right amount of is what has prompted me to step in and offer a gaming style that is meticulous and relaxed enough, careful and careless enough, detailed and lax enough to be appealing to people like me, that would rather watch 30 minutes of an episode in which something actually happens than to spend the same 30 minutes on an interchange or on planting bushes in a park. Don't get me wrong, I don't think there's nothing inherently wrong in what other more talented people do, and a few names come to mind that I will never be able to even come close in terms of fantasy, detailing skills, or talent. People like Fluxtrans, Strict Toaster, Hal Jackie, Sam Googleplexen, Corrales, Conflict Nerd, Edis, and more recently $2.20, Target, City Planner Plays, Infrastructurist, Toadies, Bambambi, Overcharged Egg, Imperator, Biffa, Few Candy, Agras, and so many more talented people without whom the city building scene would be very different now. And yet these people are so good at what they do that sometimes regular people, more humble players, while rightfully admiring their work, can't think of even come close to that level of skill, or sometimes just sheer patience. That's why a channel like mine exists. I'm not the best at these games, and certainly not the worst either, and you can think of me as the Salieri to those Mozarts, a regular Jack, or Simon if you prefer, that just enjoys playing and sharing his work of fantasy with other people. A craftsman or an artisan, if you will, that enjoys sharing his work and his knowledge so that other players can draw inspiration, and maybe even learn a thing or two while benefiting from relaxed and easygoing gameplay. So in the end, why should you watch? To enjoy relaxed and carefree gameplay, to discover or rediscover the beauty of the creative process, to learn something maybe, to build a community. It's going to be up to me to create interesting and engaging content. I'm still learning at this YouTube thing though, so have patience if sometimes I screw up. And it's going to be your part to like and share my videos so that this channel can grow. Or even better, engage in the comment section. That I think is the best part of being a smaller channel, that the creator always has time for the comment section. And of course, subscribe. Thank you for sticking with me up to this point, and if you're interested, here's something I think you might enjoy. Ciao ciao, Simon.